So I wrote some questions down.
You're so far away from me. Oh, you might be in the picture.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay out of it. Okay. So the first stuff is basic. It's like, what's your name? Where were you born? Stuff like that. I'll wait till the... I thought it was weird that the chiropractor had glass door.
What?
I can't believe that the chiropractor had a glass door. And that he left his door open to the patient.
Maybe he wanted them to see.
And he's actively busy.
See, now he knows if we have a chiropractor. I wouldn't have known that. Yeah. Is she talking? It's disappearing?
We're just waiting. Let's wait.
What?
Let's just wait.
Oh, she could go on like that. She could talk for a bit.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Your father did this.
This is the one he did.
I did this. I did the inside.
Mm.
Whatever he had covered, uncovered, left uncovered, I covered.
Okay, so Grandma, what's your name and where were you born?
Bernice first. I was born at home at 939 Saratoga Avenue, Bronzeville.
That's interesting. Can you tell me what's your birthday?
July 28th,
Was that always your birthday?
1919.
Was the 28th always your birthday?
No. It used to be the 27th. They confused. You see, she went into labor on the 27th. And it went on until the 28th. And the baby was born on, and I was born on the 28th. Yeah.
So you
So
celebrate...
whoever wrote it down, put it down as the 27th.
How did you realize what your real birthday was?
One day, I was trying to get my license or something, I can't remember exactly what. And we went to the bureau and I asked for my license. They couldn't find it. And finally I said, could it be the 28th? Because I had heard the story about the mistake. So they surely looked at 28th, and there it was. And I got my license. So.
Tell me about your parents.
What is that?
Tell me about your parents.
Tell me about
Tell me about your parents.
my parents. Well, I was very lucky from the very beginning. And as a child growing up, I realized how lucky I was in having such parents. They were not only quite well-to-do and successful, but they were good-natured and very generous. And I had whatever I needed and more, and clothes, and my mother loved clothes, and she made me very conscious of how I looked and how I should look. And I copied her, and I learned from her how to dress and wear makeup. And I thought they were just wonderful. And I appreciated my father too, yeah. But I did not appreciate him enough until later on, when I grew up. And I knew more about grown-ups business of people and saw the personality he had. And when he would talk about business, I would be listening, and it sounded like he was so smart and so clever. For instance, he would say if he didn't like anybody, he would curse them after he hung up the phone. Something like that, yeah. Never told anybody to their face. Never. Anybody, even though it was a real enemy or whatever. No, he would never tell them the truth. And this is the way he was. He was a real politician, meaning he knew how to handle people. And he did very well by working his way up to the head of the Woolworth. What was it? Woolworth. He worked with. Can you hold it a minute?
Yeah. I think it was Woolworth.
No, it wasn't with Woolworth.
He didn't work. He had a contract with them at one point.
What?
He had a contract with Woolworths at one point.
Woolworth?
Yeah. But he had his own business.
So maybe it was Woolworth, and then the next one was the big store. It still exists. Yeah, I can't remember at the moment. I'll come back to it.
Okay.
But he worked. Is that interfering with you?
Yeah.
Let's
just wait a little bit.
Tell her to call him back.
Let's wait a little bit.
All right. Until I think.
Just think about it. So, it's something I'm interested in. I liked how you talked about your mom and fashion. I liked how you talked about your mom and fashion.
Yeah, I did.
She was really stylish?
She was. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that what you
She was the first one to have a mink coat in the whole family and in the neighborhood or wherever. She knew what was beautiful because the little bit they went out at night, evenings, or maybe she read the New York Times. I really don't know. Because Harry read the New York Times every day. So maybe hanging around the house, she noticed the fashion pages and she saw what was lovely. And she went to the stores, picked herself up, drove to Macy's. Macy's was a favorite, and went shopping like a wonderful, rich lady. And she was a good example for me. I never went to department stores. I didn't have time. I was too busy. First of all, I was too busy going to school, doing homework, taking piano lessons. Once a week I had a piano lesson. And also socializing with friends. I had a few friends, quite a few friends. We were about 3 women that really were very friendly and in the neighborhood. And I socialized a little bit with them. And I learned to dance with them. We used to put on the Victrola. My friend had a Victrola and the hangers. And we put on, she had all the records, all the vinyls and everything. And we would put it on and she and I danced in the living room. And whatever I didn't know, maybe my friend knew, or we saw on the television what they were doing. And that was the sound. You just copied what everybody else was doing. And that was the beginning of pop music. I think so. Yeah, because now it's all coming back on TV. Yeah, and it's wonderful to see. And I learned to dance that, and uh, the latest dances, and I I loved the music. I loved dancing, and she and I were very good friends. Yeah, her father owned a movie theater in the neighborhood, and so we'd get free passes, and we surely would go to the movies regularly. Yeah. And I was a really movie addict, and if she'd get tickets for a premiere or something like that, I would go with her. Be so happy to go with her. Her father drove us. I wasn't driving then. And Harry was the first one to have a big Buick, beautiful Buick. And he loved that car. I remember his talking about it. And so I went. I wanted to tell you more about Harry in business.
Yeah, hold on. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you stop?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Jill,
So tell me more about your dad in business.
I forget the name of the stores. One was Woolworth.
What's FO?
What?
What's FO?
Ethel was his firm.
Oh.
He went into business. He was so successful as a cutter that he had saved enough money, so he went into his own business, and he rented a big factory store, and he got another partner, a Jewish man, Epstein E. That's why it was E-F-F-O. Two Freifels. He and Uncle Jaime were partners, and E. So E became a partner, Epstein became a partner. But he didn't stay too long because they found that he was doing something funny with the telephone or something, I don't know. But it wasn't the right thing to do as a partner.
Uh-huh.
So they got rid of him. Yeah. So he and his brother were in business for the rest of their lives. Yeah. And
What did they make?
what? Ethel.
Yeah, what did they make?
Children's underwear.
Oh.
Now I think he started with aprons. I think so. I'm not sure. And aprons were very simple to make. And he cut the patterns. Harry was good at that because he had learned it under, well, I'll have to go back to his tape. Mr. I forget his name. I can't remember everything.
Okay, so if I remember this right, he was working for a guy,
Yeah.
and the guy really liked him.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody liked him. He had a fabulous personality. Agreeable, happy, smiling. Got along with everybody. Knew how to be gracious, how to shake hands, and get very, not too familiar with anybody, but just charming and the way a man should be.
Am I correct that he would just talk to people in the streets?
Oh, anybody. He would talk to anybody that he'd be standing next to or waiting somewhere, and he would be talking to anybody. And he'd come home, and my mother asked him, "What friend did you meet this night?" So he would tell me, "Yeah, I'm Ben and this guy," and he told me about his life and all that sort of thing. And this is the way people reacted to him, because they felt he was interested, really interested, and they liked talking to him. Well, anyway, I started talking about that and my business because he charmed himself into talking and getting a contract with 2 big stores. One was Woolworth, I believe, and the other one was another one who had all sorts of goods, everything. And they bought, the buyer liked the way he spoke, was charmed by him, and ordered a lot of stuff from him. And when he went from aprons to children's underwear, they really did a good job, because who wouldn't be able to use children's underwear? I mean, everybody was having babies then. It was a very popular thing to do. So Harry did very, very well. Harry and Jaime, both of them. Jaime worked on the machines. There were about 20 machines in the factory. And Jaime would be able to go over and fix the machine in 2 minutes. It was done. Never had to call in a guy for that. And he was a very friendly guy too, Jaime. I would talk to the girls, and most of the girls were related to us, because Harry hired his nieces and nephews, mostly his nieces, who sold it. The men in our family were jewelers. They became jewelers. And that was doing very well too in those days. So they developed nicely. But the buyers, Harry once a year would take them out. They would take them out to a lovely, lovely nightclub. One of them was famous, I forget the name. Yeah. And take them out really, really nicely. And my mother would get all dressed up. And that's why she bought the big coat. Mm-hmm. She really needed to go to these lovely, lovely nightclubs. And she didn't go too often, but when he took her and the buyer was charmed by him, and they just liked his personality. He wasn't a lover boy. He wasn't. He was the ideal husband. Yeah, 1 woman, 1 man, that's it. And he was a very good husband, very generous with my mother, extremely generous. And in her later years, she regretted that she didn't put money aside, that she didn't need, that he had given her. And so she remembered how much money he used to give her. And she used to give it back to him, or I don't think she had her own bank account. It wasn't like nowadays, where the women all have their own bank accounts. Or else a little bag hidden away. They used to call it clip. I'll forget it later. You put a little handkerchief, money, tie it with a rubber band, and hide it. and you always have a little money in reserve. And women used to keep a lot like that. Their kitchen money, their food money, they used to call it. And they would put it away for when they think their husbands will be out of work or needed, and they'll be there to save them. And that's what every woman thought of, to help their husbands. It really wasn't to buy themselves clothes, because they saved in those days. Most women were savers like their husbands, so that's why they always had in the back of their minds they would save their husbands when business went bad. So they were very successful. What can I tell you? First car, first Buick on the street, first real car on the street, and there were people who were buying cars then. They were too poor. They walked to synagogues. They walked to school. They had their school nearby.
So he had the Buick in the 20s?
What?
He had the Buick when you were a kid? When you were young?
I was...
Before the Depression?
Before the Depression? 29. I was born in 19. Well, I didn't tell you about Harry. Harry always read the newspaper. I didn't tell you. He told you on his cassette.
Yeah.
They would have the New York Times delivered every day. And he would sit down in the car and Jaime would drive to Atlantic Avenue where they have their factory. And he would be reading the newspaper and eating it up. And I would do all the drudgery driving. Well, anyway, one day he was driving, it was 1929, and he reads that the bank is having a little problem. So he said to Harry, you know what? I don't like the sound of this. I'm going to bring my money tomorrow. Be going to the bank. I'm going to take it out. No, but he didn't say to take my money. Get my book or something, bank book, whatever, and take it out. He walks into the bank. So Jaime said, I'll do the same thing, of course. Whatever Harry said, Jaime did. So they both bring their money, and Jaime walked in afterwards, so Harry was first. So the guy said, well, if you come Monday morning, I'll have a check for you. He asked for money that he needed for his mortgage. And he says, I need it right away. So the guy says, well, be here Monday morning. He says, I don't think so. He says, because I'm hand-delivering this letter to my mortgager. So anyway, the guy didn't move. He says, oh, I don't have it. What can I do? He says, look, I'm sitting down here and I'm not going to move until I get a check. Jaime, have a seat. And they both sat down. Well, the guy had to give him the money. It wasn't terribly much, almost 2,000 or something like that, whatever it was. He got his check, and Jaime had to get it too, because he was with him. And Jaime was so grateful that he came along with his brother. Yeah. And So they both got the cash and they went home and they were happy. Harry is reading the papers or at night and in the morning, and this goes on over the weekend. And then his Monday, he's reading that the banks are in trouble. And they closed very quickly. Yeah, it was within a few days. The banks closed, and he was so happy that he had the money, and he didn't have to worry about the bank. They'll be fine, and I'll be fine. And that's it. And he went on manufacturing his underwear, children's underwear, and everything was all right. The banks somehow recovered, or whatever happened to them, they were fine. Pardon me. and so they lived happily ever after. Yeah. And thank God, Jaime and Harry, never a word between them. Two brothers who never a word in between them that was harsh or difficult. They made it difficult for the other one. Jaime agreed with Harry all the time and went along with him everything he did, as you see. And then what happened? The banks closed. The banks closed.
If I remember it right,
And then
he gets his money out of the stock market and then puts that into a bank. And then the bank was going to close, so he got the money out of the bank before the bank closed. So he escaped two, if I get this right, he escaped two horrible situations that could have been tragic. He got out of the bank collapse and the stock market.
He had the what?
He got out of the stock market.
Oh yeah, that was the first.
I think that was the first.
The first thing, I'm sorry, I'm going backwards. The first thing was the stock market. Didn't look so good, but it's going down, and so that's when they took all of their stocks out.
Yeah,
they just went to the stock market office and pulled out everything. And whether they put it under the mattress or what, I don't know. But anyway, they got free of the stock market, and they were happy about that. And then the banks closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You stopped?
No. So, tell me about your brothers.
My brother? Oh.
Yeah, both brothers.
What?
Both brothers.
Oh. Well, Leonard was born 4 years after I was. Beautiful, gorgeous boy. Gorgeous curls. I had straight hair like sticks. And I had to wear a boyish cut with the bangs and very straight, practically like a man almost, like a boy's. And this boy was born with curly hair, blonde, and he grew up to be handsome, gorgeous boy with a fabulous voice and pretty good student. And he just worked very hard at school. Didn't take piano lessons, but he had the talent. I was busy taking the lessons, and he was picking up music by himself, picking out songs. I couldn't do that. Really, he had the talent, and he had a beautiful voice. And in school, he became the favorite of the choir leader, a woman. She's very attracted to him. and he loved the attention. And she started taking him to out for coffee or ice cream or whatever, and they started going out. She was married, but later divorced, later, about 10 years later. But she was very fond of Leonard, and so he worked on his voice with her and all that sort of thing. And he loved to sing, and he even sang to his bride when they got married. Sang a beautiful song about loving her, etc. And then, he was accepted by the Air Force. Then the war was coming. He was accepted by the Air Force for his credits, for his everything, and he was trained by the Air Force. He was being trained, and he rode a plane. He had all his licenses to fly a plane, and he was very good. He was, what was he? Not the navigator. I think he was the one who dropped the bombs. I think so, yeah. And he loved everything about the Air Force, about the studying, driving the plane. He was very happy about everything. Luckily, the war ended on the day that I think he was graduating, somewhere around there. They both coincided with each other. The day he was graduating with the day the war stopped. And we were so happy. My mother made a party in the backyard, and everybody was invited, and the liquor flowed, and the drinks flowed, and my mother got drunk. She was so happy. She says, when the war is over, I'm getting drunk. And she did. She kept her word. And we had a wild party because we had two houses together. Jaime had found the houses for rent. I think it was like $1,200 a house, something like that. So he couldn't resist. And he says, okay, I'm buying the two houses. And immediately signed the paper and bought the houses. Of course, Harry bought the other one. Yeah, he bought it took it from Jaime and bought it. And so he was the owner of one house and Jaime was next door. And the backyards were together. So you can imagine a two plot house. I think so, that's what you call it. Double house was right there. And it was wild. We had grass, we had a walk, we had flowers, we had everything we ever wanted. No pool. We had a rubber pool for the babies. And we got them all, and they had babies. Lenore had two children or three. I can't remember at the moment. And I had three. And the family was growing, and we used the backyard all the time. And at night we had a cookout, barbecue. We had a brick fireplace out in the backyard. And it was fabulous living. And a little spot for tomato growing. Jaime loved to plant tomatoes. And he saw how easy it was. So he put them in. And we all took care of it. Harry took care of it a little bit. Nana would look after it a little bit. Everybody would look after the tomatoes. And we all had tomatoes, and what else? Nothing else. And flowers, of course, a border of flowers. So life was fun. Life was fun there. And at night we entertained there. Our friends came. I invited my friends from the hospital, and they came, and we had hamburgers outside, and it was a beautiful night. And I remember, and everybody had such a good time, yeah. And Harry they were so happy that they had this house and the surroundings for their children. Yeah, they were just delighted with everything. And especially when I became engaged, of course, they liked Joe right away, because they had been recommended to Joe by their friends, the Solomons, who knew me as a child and knew Joe, because they were related to the Jolishes and Mark, Joe's cousins. And so they knew me, so they thought it would be a very good match. So they started on him. They started on Joe. You have to come and meet this young lady. We insist, we'll take you there. We know where they live. Long Beach was a far cry from Brooklyn, yeah. But that's what they did. They forced him, kept talking to him, until he said, okay, all right, one night when I'm free. And finally, he consented to go with them. So they brought him out. They didn't pull him by his hair, but they practically dragged him to my home. And I met him that night, and as soon as we met, I said, would you like to take a walk? He said, sure. We had a boardwalk. A few blocks away was the entrance to a boardwalk. We were in West End. We weren't in the main. Oh, yeah. We weren't in our house there yet. I don't think so. We lived in a sort of bungalow for some summers. And then we realized, why are we paying rent in a bungalow when we could have a house for $1,200? So that's when we got the house and didn't live there anymore on the West End. Well, anyway, we went for a walk, and we were talking and walking, and I found him, very compatible, and I loved hearing about medicine and how he was doing and all that sort of thing. I was fascinated with it, and because I was very, very charmed with medicine in the first place, and the fact that he was a doctor and the stories you read about doctors, that didn't bother me. And I hadn't heard too many stories. I hadn't heard the bad stories. So anyway, so we were all very happy about the engagement. Became engaged very soon. Yeah. Once we met, he started taking me out, coming for me. Once he came for me, and I said, oh, I'm so sorry. Could you drive me to the station, Union Street in Brooklyn, Utica Avenue? You would know where that was. Yeah. It was one of the early streets to Manhattan. About 5 stops, I think, 6 stops. And so I asked him to give me a ride because she invited me to a premiere picture. And, I hated to miss that. And I said, I'll pray for rain, because we were supposed to go horseback riding, Joe and I, because he was so glad he'd have somebody to ride with. because he was practicing to be a captain in the army, because he knew war was coming. He knew very early about the war because he volunteered. He volunteered and he was going in as a captain into the army. So he spoke to me about it and he asked me how I felt about it, his going into the army and being active away from home. I said, well, if you love somebody, you want to go anywhere anywhere he wants. You want to be with him all the time, or if he has to go away, you go with him, or you stay home and wait for him. Isn't that what everybody does? So he just listened, and that's all. That was enough for him to realize that I would go along with anything he did. So he planned it all, and I planned the wedding, and then he heard from the army. We want you here June 7th or June 15th. I can't quite remember. We want you here early in June. So he said, I'm sorry, I'm getting married. June 7th, we were married. And they said, oh no, you have to cancel it. He said, what? He never argues with anybody, but this time he got very angry. He says, well, we'll cancel my captaincy. We'll cancel it. I don't have to come in, join in. Well, they really saw that he was adamant about it. So they said, okay, we'll expect you. You tell us. He says, well, I'm getting married on the 7th. I'll give you a week. I'll be there a week later. And we did go on a honeymoon into a hotel. He had learned about when he was young. He was a waiter there. And he felt he must come back there someday as a big shot. And he did, at this hotel. And so we went to the hotel for a week, and we had fun. We went horseback riding. We did a few things, mostly walking. Yeah. I was a virgin. He was a virgin. He had been working with prostitutes in the hospital, the big hospital there. Brookdale? No. A very big hospital who took care of the prostitutes, and he was taking care of them. Well, giving them the medicines and using the medicines on them. It was a disgust to anybody, and he was fed up with it. Yeah, he was fed up with working with them, but Joe did his job, and there was a doctor there, and he took care of them. But he would never have any relations with any prostitutes, ever, because he was afraid. They must have a disease. They could have anything. What was it? Skin disease or whatever. I forget the name of it. Besides syphilis, and what else was there?
Gonorrhea, chlamydia.
What?
Gonorrhea, chlamydia.
Gonorrhea.
There's more.
Yeah. Terrible things, and syphilis was awful. So anyway, he stayed a virgin. Well, maybe that I should have felt badly that I was marrying a virgin. I don't know. Anyway, so we got married June 7th, and Dana went, we picked out the Jewish Center on Eastern Parkway. On Eastern Parkway. But they were busy that night, so we took B Post's place I told you my vocabulary is shot to hell.
It's okay.
A lovely place, and I forgot the Long Island town. And Sydney made a fabulous wedding for us. And we had wonderful music, their favorite orchestra that they always had. And the music was wonderful, and the food was fabulous. Mama Lena was cooking her gefilte fish and chopped liver and all those goodies. And we had a really beautiful wedding, yeah. And I had all my cousins there, and Harry and Nana were very expansive. Everybody whom they knew practically was there. Yeah, all their friends, and especially the ones who introduced us. We honored them, yeah, during the ceremony, and always honored them, yeah, yeah. And it was a glorious wedding, and then we went to Nana's house to go to sleep. No, we started out. I think we started out right away. We gave them the money. We gave them all the money that we had been handed as gifts. And so we left them the money. You take care of it. And we didn't call his mother to tell her to come over. I think she was very hurt by that. Yeah. But anyway, they took care of the money and had it for us. And give me a minute. You want to stop it?
It's okay.
Oh, you stopped.
It's okay. Well, let's take a break.
What?
Because I have to go get a new shirt.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So if I leave now, I'll make it back in time for dinner.
For 6.
Yeah. We'll do more tomorrow.
All right.
Is that okay?
So bring the blouse, shirt here.
Yeah.
And you'll change here, and we'll go.
Yeah. I'll change. I'm gonna go do that now.
All right. But you got most of it.
We got some good stuff. I want more though. It's also hard to keep.
Oh, I want you to give me the little batteries to keep.
Oh, to throw away? I'll just take them home.
To take them home,
Yeah, it's easy.
and you're going to have some pictures made.
Yeah.
from that.
So that's to synchronize the two.
I think.
So when I hear the clap, I know to start both at the same time.
I see.
Have you ever seen them with clappers and stuff?
No.
On like movies? They're like, take one,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah. Of course, I've never
You never thought about it.
wondered about it, but
Yeah.
I knew there was a good reason. They know their business. Don't want to push anything in the wash.
No, I'm okay. So,
Yeah.
yesterday we were talking a little bit about your brother Leonard.
Oh, yes.
I want to talk a little bit about Marvin.
Okay.
What do you remember of him when he was young?
Okay. Well, I remember everything about that because I was helping to care for him. Not too much. My mother had help. As soon as he was born, she got help in the house with a day worker. I don't know how many days she came in, and to help her with Marvin. And it was a terrible strain on her. Yeah. And she really felt that I was a comfort for her. Because I was about 10 when he was born. She had fallen near a tree. In the front of the house there was a tree. And I think they had uprooted the tree, if I'm not mistaken. And there was a space and people walked on it because they thought it was okay. Something like that, and she tripped. She was almost due at that time. And so we sometimes think that she was hurt in the fall. Yeah. Well, it was very heavy.
I don't know how cerebral palsy works.
What?
I don't know how cerebral palsy works. Is it in the DNA or?
I don't know either. But it wasn't inherited.
Yeah.
That we know. There was nobody else who had cerebral palsy around. But when he was born, there was a problem. It was in the house. It was on the bed. The doctor had a hard time. It was the third birth. And so it might have been the injury. It might have been. I think that it might have been during the birth. The doctor, trying to get the head out, pressed right in the motor area of the brain, which took care of the ear, the motor area, walking and movement with the hands and everything, and all those nerves concerned with motion. So it might have happened then. And that's what we really thought. Nobody ever mentioned the accident with falling. They just let it go. No discussion about that. But anyway, but I remember him when he was born, and we saw pictures. Blonde curls, very good looking, beautiful little face, and quite active. His feet were going. And 4 days later, stopped completely. Stopped moving. So what happened was, it was in the brain. Something happened to dissolve the clot, or whatever it was, so that he began to normalize it. So anyway, I didn't know anything about anything. I was 10 years old, and Marvin was 4 years younger than I was. And Marvin Leonard went around and playing ball with the boys on the block, and he didn't realize anything. And I was in the house more with my mother, and I was watching her grieve about him and carry on. But of course, she was wonderful. She tried very hard to be brave for Harry's sake and for my sake. And then she got help in the house, so she didn't have that worry. And she'd be able to go out to shop and leave Linda and I at home alone with the maid. And so things started to organize. But she drove, she had learned to drive. And my dad left the car for her sometimes, I don't know. She didn't have her own car yet. And she would go shopping and do what she needed to do, only. And then to go take him to the doctors. From one doctor to another. She must have exhausted all of the New York hospitals, etc. And nobody could do anything. They saw him. Finally, she got the name of Dr. Rubin. Nice Jewish doctor. And he was a beautiful man, looking and brilliant. And he looked at Marvin, examined him, and he said, "Mom, you take him to the beach, put him in the sand, feed him well, fill up meat broth," and told her, gave her ideas of what to feed him, and puff him up with the back. He didn't even sit. Give him support in the back and keep him in the sun and the fresh air, and he's going to grow and he's going to be fine. She says, "Are you serious?" He said, "Yes, just listen to me. Be calm, grow up with him, you'll see what happens, just be patient." That's all he said to her. And she went away for the first time. Relieved, completely relieved, feeling utter trust in him. And so she never saw another doctor after that about him. And she knew him till he died. And she did just that, whatever he said. She gave him the broth, the meat broth, the blood came out. He drank it, and milk, and everything good. And they did everything they could. And from then on, they started to relax with him. He got his exercises, needed exercises, therapy. And she would put him on the dining room table, put a blanket down, and put him on it and exercise him. She would have to do everything. They didn't call them therapists then, you know. So, but she was happy to do everything that the doctor said. So, so that went on for a few years. I was 11, 12, and we grew up anyway, without her help. We grew up, and Marvin, Leonard was very sporty and into sports, and he was a very, very happy child. And I was too. And at 14, my mother sent me to camp, a real important camp, not like a day camp in the neighborhood, a real big camp in Massachusetts. I forget the city, yeah, very well known. To this day, these people, they owned camps, and they still persisted and built up a whole history of camps in Massachusetts. And I loved it. I ate it up. Marvin, she didn't send until he was about 13, 14, 13, I think. And of course, he was just thrilled with everything. But he was always resentful that she sent me to camp for 3 years when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Yeah. And he went only for 1 year. He resented it because he loved it so. You know, when he got to camp and he saw what was going on the ball field, and this and that, instead of the streets in New York and Brooklyn. So he was utterly not angry with his parents, but resentful. Yeah.
So it sounds like he was transitioning into a successful person.
Who?
Your brother, Marvin. At about age 13, 14, if he was able to go to camp by himself.
Oh yeah.
How did that progress? I mean, did he go to college?
Yes, he went, sure. And then when the time came, he was accepted into the Air Force.
Marvin.
Marvin developed, yeah. He sat by himself finally, and they got him a share of the little car, and they got him a little bicycle.
But he was smart.
Marvin was smart from the beginning.
So did he go to college?
No. He didn't go. Oh, they sent him to the school for the deaf. As soon as they could, she drove him there every day.
Was he deaf?
Yeah, he was slightly deaf.
Oh.
I don't know how deaf, but they saw some discrepancy there. And so they checked him out, and they saw that, and his eyesight wasn't so good, but they let the eyesight go. He didn't wear glasses until later on, about 10, 11.
How did he meet Lila?
How did he meet
His wife.
his wife? Oh, that was arranged, yeah.
Lila.
Yeah, Lila.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the both mothers decided that they had to get them together with somebody because I was engaged or something, and this one was getting married and all that sort of thing. And he was growing up, and he was running around already and throwing balls and catching it. He was on the way to being a good athlete, a really good athlete. But he was moving, he was running, he was playing with Uncle Jaime used to play with him a lot. And Uncle Joe, my mother's brother, used to be very sweet with him, very wonderful.
Did the brothers work in the factory?
The whole family worked in the factory.
Oh.
Yeah, and as soon as Marvin was able to stand up alone and stopped school, I think, when he was about, I don't know, I have no idea when. But as soon as they took him to the school for the deaf on 23rd Street, I think it is, in New York, and she would take him every day and pick him up and help him with homework, and she did mostly everything. Yeah, Harry. My mother left Harry alone, and came home from business. He read books. He went. I think he went to school with that. So took some courses. Yeah, and
so how are you in school?
Me?
Yeah.
Normal. I was always just normal.
What did you like?
No.
What subjects did you like?
Oh, I loved everything. I did. I loved history. I loved everything except math. But I loved school. I loved the teachers. I loved being there. And if I go to my father with math problem, I would drive him crazy. He almost went berserk. He couldn't not understand that a human being could not do this, math. No, we're not talking about algebra and things like that. That I got right away. That was no problem. But just math. He couldn't understand how my brain didn't work like his, because he could figure without a paper, he didn't need a paper to write it down. And he was very smart. And he had very little schooling in Europe, but came out strong, yeah.
How did you get into college?
Oh, well, I graduated from school, from public school, and I was going to college.
Did you apply?
Sure. He took me. One day we went to NYU, but it was registration, and he drove me to New York. God forbid.
Did they look at your grades?
Sure.
They did.
I don't know. I can't remember that.
But do you think?
Yeah, of course. I brought every bit of evidence.
But now we take these tests.
No
tests.
No tests. I was at NYU.
What did you study there?
At NYU was a free school. Not a free school. It was a school where anybody could go in. Anybody. A moron could go in and start. Then they would let them out if they couldn't keep up, But of course I did very well with all my courses.
What did you study?
What?
What did you study?
My major was English. Yeah. I minored in psychology.
How were you introduced into art?
Oh, I never knew it was good. Otherwise, I would have really gone to art school. Yeah, I've done something more with art because New York has everything. Art schools and the Students' League and whatnot. So I didn't even never thought of art like that until later on. When I was in college, my piano teacher opened up a school on the Eastern Parkway in one of the brownstones, in the basement apartment, first floor apartment. He got a piano teacher. He was the piano teacher. He got an art teacher. He got a dancer teaching dance. So it was dancing, of course, and he brought me in. And he said, you could practice your teaching. I was giving lessons in elocution. This was while I was in college. I was beginning my first year. And so from high school, the last term, I was teaching kids a speech, a voice, practicing with poem, and not reading it, they had to practice. And we had another test, a concert, like a piano concert, everybody playing. So I did that in front of their parents. They recited the poems, and but I only had a few students because I had school. I had piano lessons already. I was with this teacher, this man teacher, and he brought in the art teacher, so I wanted art classes and dance, and I had modern dance, like, what's that artist, the one who wore these big sheets and used them dramatically in her dance. Yeah, I'll think of it. Very famous, still very famous. So anyway, there I was, my first year of college, all set up, teaching and taking piano lessons. I stopped the lessons. Yeah, I didn't have time to practice, and I knew I had to quit something. It was too much. The time problem, doing homework and then going to class and teaching a little bit, and then so but whatever I did, I loved it. I loved the art lesson, and when she would tell me to look outside, she opened the blinds, and we saw the tree right there. And I started, she said, sketch this tree, use your imagination or your eyesight, and do what you like with it. And I started. And from there on, I loved the dancing, and I loved the art, and and the music I let go. So there you are. So there I was on my way to doing everything.
What happened after school?
Now art.
Oh.
What?
What happened after school?
After school, I did no sports. Those days.
No. After college.
After college, well, let me see. I met Dad in my last year.
Oh.
I was in college when I met Dad. Mother and Dad had a group of friends, 4 couples, and they'd get together once every week, I think, or once in 2 weeks, for cards, and just talking, and they got very close, and one couple decided that they'd like me to meet Joe. He was almost graduating medical school, and he was nearby, living in Brooklyn. His parents lived in Brooklyn, right near us. So they started talking to him, not to me, and they wanted him to meet me. And when he heard about Harry and Louis and his Solomon, the Solomons, they loved him. The whole family loved him. The first doctor, the first person they could talk to medically and otherwise. And so they just loved him. And they saw me growing up, and I was the first one to go to college, and all the friends and all the children. And so they thought that we'd make him a good match. So anyway, this is all going on. And Mom and Dad finally were told what they thought. So they agreed. And they invited them to come over. And during the summer, we had a bungalow in Long Beach. Long Beach? Yeah. And so they invited them to bring him. And that was the plan. I was 18. I was 18 when I was graduating, and 18 to 19, yeah. In July, I was 18, graduating. So that's it. And when they brought him over, they arranged it, and they met him. The Solomons invited Mom and Dad to a party they were making for their son. So he was there, and Dad and Mom met him, but they don't remember too much about him because it was a big party and all that sort of thing. There were too many people. They didn't have a chance to talk to him, and but the Rose and what was the name? They talked so much about Joe, and they were related to his cousin, the very close cousins, and so they really were bent on this meeting, and we did, and they brought him over, and I met him, and he was very impressed with Harry, and they told him about Harry, successful businessman and all that sort of thing. They thought he was very rich. That didn't hurt. And then in recommending me to, because he needed money, Joe had no money. He just started practicing medicine. He graduated from his internship, and he was ready to go out in the world and be a doctor. And the kids on the block loved him, would start running toward him when he came to park his car. And it was really a love story, yeah, with a doctor and a dreamy situation. So anyway, and his mother lived on one of the blocks in East New York, and he would what was I going to say? Anyway, everybody adored him, and
Did you go on dates with him?
yeah. Then he invited me out for horseback riding. When he met me, he asked me if I'd ride. I said yes, I did. I did go out once or so to the stables, and I took a lesson also about the horse, how to handle a horse. Of course, I did not go out alone. Then that would be trouble. You know about horses. They see a weak rider, they know just how to get rid of him. And that's what they did.
So you went on dates with the horse. How did that progress to getting married?
Oh, just that he was happy that I liked horseback riding, because he wanted to do a lot of horseback riding because he was going to be in the army. He knew what his plans were. And he read about the officers that were on horses. That's all he read about and saw in the movies and whatnot. So he knew that he would need to ride a horse. So that's why he practiced horseback riding and got jockers and whatnot ready to that.
Okay, let me check this real fast. Okay.
As far as are you continuing?
let's keep talking about that.
Yeah.
So
As far as our romance goes, it was just quietly continued, and like in the storybooks, and they lived ever happily more. But life was more exciting than that, due to the army and his being away for 2 years, 2.5 years he was away. And let me see, 21 months.
when did he enlist in the army?
He was in the ROTC when he was in high school. And he just felt that when there was a war, he'd be ready. Yeah, since he was a doctor, he knew he could go in as an officer. So he was contented to practice horseback riding, and medicine he knew, so he was all set. So, and when he met me, he asked me if I ride. I said, well, yes, I was just starting, and I had been out a few times in the stable on the end of Eastern Parkway. Yeah, and where the stables were. And I had gone, taken a car, my mother's car, and driven over there and just spoke to one of the people there, and they put me on a horse and led me around and showed me how to control it and all that sort of position, etc. And so I was ready to continue with a lesson here and there, and then I was ready to go out. But I never went out alone.
So how did you get married? Or how?
Well, we set the dates. For...
Did he propose to you?
Sure. First of all, months before, he asked me how I felt about being married to a serviceman and going, he might have to go away for. And I said, if you love somebody, what's the question? What's the problem? You have to follow wherever he goes and live with it, and that's it. That's all I could answer. I didn't know any better. All I knew about were happy marriages. I didn't know about all these separations and things like that. So anyway, I answered that. So he accepted that as an answer, that if he proposed to me, I would say yes. He didn't want to know. He could never take a no. So that's the story.
So when did he propose to you?
Then a few weeks after that, we were on the date. Oh, we went to see the movie picture, Disney's, what is it? The musical.
Fantasia?
Fantasia.
You saw Fantasia with
Sure.
Grandpa?
Together. And we were like drunk from the mood, from the music. And both of us equally affected by it. Yeah, that was nice. That was nice that we both felt the same thing. And we both enjoyed it. In fact, we both bought the record or whatever. And so we'll never forget Fantasia, yeah. Yeah, in fact, we used it as a word, word.
Like a secret word?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What do they call them?
Passwords.
Password, yeah, yeah.
You shouldn't tell people your password.
What?
So
Yeah,
after Fantasia, he proposed to you?
yeah.
And then how long till you got married?
2 months, 2 months, something like that.
Was there a rush to get married because of the war?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Otherwise, maybe it would. But June was a lovely time. And my birthday, I was 18. Yeah.
So how long after you got married did he leave?
Okay, so firstly, he was here. He went to meetings of the army, the group.
And you were in North Carolina at the time, right?
No, the first thing we did was that he was called to the army, June 15th. And we had a honeymoon for a week in the mountains. And it was lovely. And I have pictures of me there and all that sort of thing. And he got ready to go, closing up his office and everything. He had plenty to do. And I didn't know what to be ready for. I was an innocent. I didn't know anything about warfare. I didn't know people get killed. Whatnot. I was completely inexperienced and innocent about all that sort of thing. He knew more because he read a lot about war and the fighting, and that's what I knew about all the horseback training. So anyway, he didn't tell me what was in store for us. But anyway, he was called to come there to be ready June 15th, something like that. So he knew that we had to go. So the car was ready, packed up before we were married, with my clothes, and we went to Fort Bragg. We needed a place to sleep. We didn't know where. North Carolina. They didn't like soldiers very much. They didn't like the blacks. They didn't like the whites. They just didn't like soldiers. So anyway, there was not enough houses to rent or to buy or whatever. But in the meantime, people were opening up their homes. Some people who were brave and rented them out. So I just looked for a sign somewhere that said for rent. And I saw a beautiful house on the way. And it was owned by a lovely couple, Southerners, of course. And we walked in, and I asked whether they had rooms for rent. They said yes, and they showed me. And some Americans were already there. From Brooklyn, of course, found another couple. And that was nice. You know, it made me feel more homely.
I think it's funny you ran into a bunch of people from Brooklyn in North Carolina. And then also he was in Sydney or something in Australia.
Yeah.
And there were other Brooklyn doctors on the VD clinic or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of them, they followed Joe. Well, not that they were following him, but those Jewish doctors were working.
Yeah.
They were called up. Yes, it's really funny. All the proctologists were in Australia already. Yeah.
So when did he leave?
We left June 15th.
No, when did he leave from...
And so...
Am I correct? He knew that he was going to go to war?
Oh, he was all prepared.
But if I remember right, he said that he went into a meeting and they said, we're going to war in 5...
Oh, yeah. They didn't know they were ready for war. No, it's just that they had to go, and they were starting to mobilize, so to speak.
What was it like for him to leave?
Well, he didn't talk about it much. He didn't describe what would happen, but he hated the idea that he might have to leave me. So that was the tough thing about it. So what happened? What happened? He called Harry. He called my house, spoke to Harry, and he told him this what was going on, where he might be leaving soon. So he said, maybe you'll come. Maybe you'll come and go take Bernice home. He said something like that. But anyway, I stayed as long as I could, without planning anything. And the next thing, his unit was going to go from Fort Bragg to California, to go to Australia, on the way to Australia. Well, the boys were going to Europe, or they were going to west, or going east or west. So anyway, looked like you were going west. That's what Joe thought. So we waited to find out, and the next thing we knew, he was called. Let me see. So I was getting settled in the apartment, and we had a nice couple to meet and socialize with, and the next thing you knew, we were sent to Kennyport. Is that the name? Kennyport, where Kennedys lived. I think it's Kennyport.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, it was the what do they call it? The Cape, I think they call it. But anyway, we were sent there, and we were thrilled because it was lovely being there. The weather was gorgeous, swimming, all that sort of boating. So it sounded wonderful to him. And to me, I didn't know, but was happy. And I became pregnant right away.
So you became pregnant after he left? Or you... No. You realized that you were pregnant after he left or before he left?
No, we were together.
So you, before he left, you knew you were pregnant?
Oh, yes. I knew right away. My breasts were hurting me. I felt them developing, milk, etc. And that was the first sign. And that was it. So I told him, and he was very happy, except that he was going away. Yeah. But
so you had...
We just took it.
He was in New Guinea when you had Amy?
No, he first went to the islands.
Yeah.
What was my mind is forgetting. Yeah. New Guinea.
New Guinea.
Oh, he went there first.
Yeah.
On the way to Australia.
Yeah.
And the natives were quite shocking. The women naked and smelly from this oil they put on, and the men with their loincloths and ugly, but they were nice to the officers And so the fighting men, they were nice, you get me. But they knew they weren't going to be there for very long. So he left me in North Carolina. No, he sent me home.
Yeah.
He sent me home.
So you had Amy all by yourself?
Yes.
Nobody was there with you?
The family?
Yeah.
No, Amy I had all by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like raising someone by yourself?
I loved it. It was a bummy. Yeah. It was just something I loved and was made for. Yeah, it was just, I accepted everything and as it should be, and I adored her. She was pretty and she was very smart, very responsive. Amy was exceptional. Yeah.
What was it like when he came back from the war?
Well, that's another thing, yeah. First of all, I left her with Nan and Harry. And I lived with them in the same bed, in the same room I always did as a schoolgirl. And that's even when we got married, that's the bed we slept in. A big, a bigger than a day bed, a little bigger, a little bigger than a twin bed, yeah. And so we left in the morning, one morning, and he drove to North Carolina. Yeah, he loved to drive, so that was no problem for us. And he said goodbye to Mom and Dad, my mom and dad, and his mother, of course. He would drive over to her every morning and see them. Yeah, they were good people.
So, what happened when Joe got back from the war?
Okay. Did I tell you about his folks? They had gone through a lot in Europe. Yeah, I think it was Russia, Austria. I can't remember right now, but they had a hard time, and the father was a brilliant man. So he took his smallest daughter with him, not his wife, came to America because he knew he was going to start a business here with eggs. So it was easy to buy, easy to sell, and he started like that, making money, and she helped, and she was small. She was smart, very smart and strong, very strong, built like a working horse. And so she helped with the eggs, carrying the eggs, selling them, and that was the one to take, that he did. And he was here and he became successful. And then he bought land and progressed like that with the land and with the business. And she met Max Gross, yeah, and he was a tailor, and very, very quiet, very studied. Before he moved, he figured everything out, and they met and got married, but they weren't married when I met them. No, they were settled. They were settled in Bronzeville, in a corner apartment in a apartment house, and he put his office. He made an office of it. The living room became the waiting room. The bedroom became an examining room. And another bedroom, a small bedroom, Mom and Dad slept there. So he took over the apartment and paid all the expenses for them, so it helped them, yeah. And I think Morris had to move out. There was no room for him to sleep. I think he had to sleep elsewhere, get an apartment someplace. That was hard for him.
So, what was it like for you and Amy when Grandpa came back from the war?
Well, they wouldn't talk to him. First of all, we walked in. She shied away, walked backwards out, trying to get away, and she wouldn't talk to me. She was angry with me because I left her for a week. It was about a week. So I accepted that. She was absolutely right. And very quietly I became friends. And I took your picture, the one sitting under the guitar. You had taken that.
Of him?
No, of you.
Of me?
Yeah, and I had kept it on the bureau.
Uh-huh.
In my bedroom. I had her crib there, and my bed, and my secretary was there. My secretary, that's in Susan's living room. That secretary was mine.
So Amy.
And then I introduced her to you, and she doesn't understand Daddy. She only knew about her father was Harry, you know. She didn't know about you as her father. She didn't comprehend those things yet. Yeah.
It sounds like Amy eventually started to like him.
Of course.
Of
course, because you started to make friends with her. You know, talking to her and feeding her. Yeah, and in the mornings you would take her for a walk.
Okay, so
you would take her for a walk.
Joe did, not me.
What?
Joe did, not me. I'm like 30 years old.
Yes.
This is impossible. Okay. I really like what you said about Amy not trusting him, and then the process of him. How did Grandpa regain her trust?
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Where we were in this was Missouri. I went to Missouri. That's where the hospital was.
Yeah, Grandpa had.
Grandpa. Well, they examined him to make sure it was a heart attack. They didn't believe it because he was a crazy doctor. He took a jeep and he drove from his station in Australia. We're talking about now. No, I don't know.
Yeah, Australia.
It was Australia.
Yeah.
And then he drove all the way to the next MASH unit, alone, over the rolling roads. What do you call it? Log roads.
Uh-huh.
So that every bump you felt, and that's why he drove alone. Didn't even take a guy with him, a soldier. He could have taken a soldier with him to drive for him. He just went. When he got there, he said to them, of having a heart attack. The doctor said, jump up and down. He did, and he fell down and didn't get up for hours. The heart just practically stopped. Yeah. But then he brought me, had me come to the hospital, the city where he was, and we got a room, an apartment, and I just cooked. We cooked a little bit because there's no restaurants there we have here, and anyway. You would wake up in the morning. I would sleep late as usual, and he took her, he dressed her, I had our clothes ready, and he took her and went for a walk. And walk, he saw the farms, and he showed her, and he talked to her about the farms and the animals that they saw on the way. And whatever was around, he would describe for her, with her. And you gradually became acquainted with her. And she was learning, she was listening. At every word, they listened to everything. And she was swallowing everything. And she liked you, of course. You were talking to her, grown up.
So you had Amy.
Yeah.
How did Susan and Jay and what happened after this?
You mean my two brothers?
How did you get back into Brooklyn?
I did for a long while, but Harry and Anna were with me. I was with them. I was really living with them in Long Beach. Still, Harry had to come for me, and he brought me home.
So when did you move to Rugby Road?
Oh, that was 1950.
1950.
Yeah.
So Jay was already born.
Wait, 1950. Jay was 4 when we moved into the house. Susan was a year older than he, was 5 or 5.5, and Amy was 7 or 8 or 9, 8, yeah, something like that. Those 3 years I know, because in 1950 we moved in there.
Were the other 2 pregnancies uneventful?
Were
the other 2 pregnancies uneventful?
Yes, because I never even knew how they were born, because the doctor gave everybody. This was a spinal shot, and everything went dead in the body. So you had no pains, and you didn't have labor pains. And they just took the baby. I never really...
It was just easy.
Delivered, yeah.
So what was life like with the kids at home? What was it like with Amy, Susan, and Jay at home growing up?
It was wonderful. I had a beautiful house. He went to a meeting when he came home from the army. A meeting of the doctors. And he said to the surgeon, the plastic surgeon back at the house there, Steve's father, yeah. He asked him, what's doing in the neighborhood? I think the policy, the politics of the neighborhood. He said, well, we have a lot of people moving in and out. That was the time, the army, people were being called up, etc. So he says, oh, there's a house full of sale around the corner, just the back of me. He says, oh yeah? He says, maybe I'll take a look. And he did. Came around the block the next day or that week and saw the people, Rosenthal's, and they had been living there a long time. They had 3 children, 3 or 4 children, and they loved the house and they lived in it. That was it, and the price was right. I think it was very low, very low. Prices were ridiculously low then, and kept going up.
I mean, now that area is very popular.
Millions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was my dad like as a kid?
Where was it? Nah.
What was my dad like as a child?
Your dad was always good, always great boy. He became friends with Steve, the doctor's son, and he was spoiled a little bit, rough, Steve, and he bossed Jay around a lot. Yeah, he wasn't a nice, soft friend. Yeah. I don't think your father ever told you. No, he didn't like him too much, but he was friendly with him because he was available. They would take a bicycle ride together.
How did Dad get into sailing?
From school. One of the boys, an Italian boy, had a rich father, and the father bought him a boat, and he went sailing, and they needed help sailing. So when he met you, he invited you on, your dad on, and Dad became interested. Yeah, especially with Mike. Mike was his name. A very lovely, quiet young man, so different from Steve. Yeah, and they became quite close. So he became a sailor, and he wanted to introduce all of us to it, and we went to see the boat, and then Dad was getting interested in motors. We had bought a motor for his boat, and remember, and now he got his first boat already. By the time you met Mike, he had bought the first boat, I think, and that's how we got into.
Grandpa bought the boat.
Yeah.
What was Susan like growing up?
Susan?
Yeah.
Sweet, very easy to bring up. She was strong-natured, but she seemed easy to me. She was very sweet, very sweet. But one night she ran away. Yeah.
Really?
I don't remember why. Maybe we wanted her to do something. I really can't remember. But so he saw that stubborn streak in her. But otherwise, they were so easy to bring up.
Could you have predicted that she'd go into psychology?
No. Writing. Amy was a writer.
That was clear.
What?
It was clear that Amy was going to go into writing.
Yeah, because she got on the newspaper in her class in college.
In college?
Yeah.
For writing?
Yeah, she was on the newspaper. She had to write articles. She had to get news like a reporter.
She was on the college newspaper.
The college, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. There were 4 girls. 2 of the girls were on the newspaper. 2 or 3. 3 of them. She became friendly with them. Well, they took her in, and she became the 4th one. So they put her on the newspaper, and she did her job, and she was good. And they went on to the end of college, like that.
What college did Amy go to?
College, Connecticut College for Women.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay, let me check this stuff.
yeah.
Make sure it's still going. So tell me a little bit more about the Rugby Roadhouse.
Oh, it was quite exciting. We'd never seen such a pretty house. But of course we hadn't seen all the rest of the houses around there, with open porches and railings, and very impressive. This was one of the most least interesting architecture our house. Had nothing gracious about it.
How many stories was the house?
3.
Was it
4?
3 or 4
Four
stories?
floors.
4 floors.
Yeah. I think we paid for 22,000, something like that.
You entertained in the house, right?
Yeah, of course, a lot.
For what occasions?
Mostly during the summer. In our backyard, we had the fireplace. We had the big area in the backyard, and the awning. We sat under the awning, and we had the chairs and tables, and it was very gracious and nice. We had the hospital doctors. We had who else came, family. So we entertained quite a bit. And then, when we got the boats, your father wanted to have them on the boat. So we started inviting them on the boat. So our weekends were that. No question about it. We didn't travel during those years, very, very little, because we had the boat. Yeah. And I used to pray for rain sometimes. Oh, but the rain. So I wouldn't have to chop the food. I would get cold cuts and all that sort of thing and bring it to the boat. And I hope I can be heard. And I made a meal. I served hors d'oeuvres first, chopped liver, chopped herring, and all the goodies. And I would send them up through the, what was the front nose, the open cockpit?
Okay.
The cockpit, the opening in the cockpit in the front, where the kids were lying around. I would send it up there, the tray of food, and they were very impressed with the chopped liver, yeah. And she entertained a few goyim, Gentile children, never seen anything like it, never heard of chopped liver. So it was fun. And when she brought John, I knew that was it, because he was good looking, and it looked like he came from a nice family. So we liked him right away. And he's a lovely boy, and he knew something about boating a little bit, yeah, but not like your father. No. And Jay took over when he came on the boat, so he was really like the captain of the boat, and Dad was the chef.
Growing up, Dad and I would sail together.
Yes.
He started off being the skipper, and then after a certain point, I started to be the skipper.
You took over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, but he pushed you.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to push you. He accepted what help you gave.
You said a Yiddish word. What's your favorite Yiddish word?
Oh, I love you. I love to hear Yiddish. I can't speak its bones.
Do you have a saying that you like?
Oh, it comes out of me suddenly. Certain phrases will come out of me. But that's not like some people, like my friend Billy. When she says something in Hebrew, in Yiddish, it's so funny. Really, it's funny to me because I remember my Yiddish family and friends speaking Yiddish, and I understood almost everything. Yeah, my grandparents spoke Yiddish.
They only spoke.
What?
Your grandparents only spoke Yiddish.
Yeah, I'm pidgin English, the Jewish and English. Yeah, they tried to speak English. Yeah, they tried to live. They were all smart. But not as smart as your other grandfather. Yeah, Max.
Oh, you think Max was very smart?
Yeah, he read Shakespeare. He read all the books he could get a hold of when he was young. And when he met Grandma, he knew she was the one.
It sounds like both of you
Yeah,
came from very smart families.
yeah, they were. But my father, brilliant mind. Yeah.
So what was Grandpa like?
And my mother did very well in school. Her handwriting, she got a prize for her handwriting, and her marks were wonderful, and her English perfect, because she was brought up as 1 year old. So she had no reason to speak Hebrew or Yiddish.
What was Grandpa Joe like?
But
What was he like?
Grandpa
Grandpa Joe.
Joe.
What was he like? What was his personality like?
Your father, your grandfather.
You're my grandfather.
What was he like?
Yeah, what was he like to you?
We're talking about Dad's dad.
Your husband.
My husband.
What was he like?
He was a loving husband. Yeah. And, we were the kind of couple who loved each other. That was to be forever. No ifs, ands, or buts. And we unpacked, as he used to say. We unpacked and we're staying. We're not going anyplace. Yeah. And sincerely loved each other. And he wanted it to be, we could go over it. Oh, yeah. The only thing we disagreed about was money. Yeah. He loved my parents, admired them so. But money, he was trying to save money all the time because he wanted for the future. And he was buying stocks. Quite soon, he started buying stocks. Yeah.
Was he saving money because he thought he was going to pass away from a heart attack?
Oh, sure. But his life was very short.
He thought?
Yeah.
He thought his life
Yes.
was going to be short?
Yes. He was always worried about his heart.
But to live another 60 years after a heart attack, 55 years after a heart attack.
That's a dream that just came true.
Yeah.
Yeah. He couldn't walk to the subway. We had a car, but he wouldn't take the car. He left it for my mother. No, we're talking about
So I have some. I have some questions. This is more about, not necessarily as much about you or the history, but about time. And
Oh,
and
oh,
no, just sort of historical moments and what you think about it.
what?
Historical moments and what you think about them and how it relates to today. So, like, if we were to talk about Vietnam, we could parallel that to today's war in Afghanistan, something along those lines. So, do you remember Vietnam War?
Very little.
Very
I had a very busy life. Yeah. First of all, Dad was being a doctor, was kept busy all the time. At night, he finished his office hours. He had to do sign all the papers, all the patients, insurance, stuff like that. Yeah.
So it seems like around that time period, you were just so busy,
Yeah.
you couldn't even process what was going on.
No.
But that's so different from now. You're so well versed with the news.
Oh my God! I have the time. I can't miss a day of news because it flies so. Everything's going so quickly. Look at technology, how it's changing and everything.
I want to show you a picture.
Yes.
So that's a car from the 20s.
Oh sure. Oh sure. I remember the first cars.
You remember the early cars?
Yeah, because they used to park it on the street there, and then I had a newspaper there all the time. I saw pictures of Ford's new cars that kept coming out, and smaller, bigger. And Dad never had a Ford, always had a Buick. Yeah. And looks more luxurious car, and whatnot. I was going to tell you more about your dad.
I'll listen.
Yeah, your your grandfather.
Okay.
I could get a little confused. Your grandfather. My husband. He was very bright, and that's one of the things I fell in love with, and I liked, because he was very smart, and he didn't dance very well. He didn't have all those things like young kids. He wasn't, but that's what I preferred. I never liked the younger boys, and that's why I never found anybody that I liked. Except one fellow I went out with a few times. He had a wonderful sense of humor. He was really funny and sweet, but never got to more than holding hands. That's the most it came to. So I never found anybody that I could really talk with, and feel that rapport that one should have. But we did. The one thing a few things we didn't agree with. he wanted me to spend more time with him. He expected me to sit in the car with him when he goes on calls, like his mother used to do. She used to sit with Dad, with her boy in the car, driving around, and she would talk to him. And she would keep on saying, "New? What's new? When are you going to meet somebody?" and all that sort of thing. Nudge him to death, almost. He was so glad to get rid of that subject and get engaged. Well, anyway, the one thing we that's what he wanted from me, that I should be with him more at his beck and call, and be in the house more. And I had help, which he never knew about. His mother never had help. And I had help. My mother had help right away. As soon as she had Marvin, she had help in the house to do the cleaning and to help her too. So anyway, so I was used to it, and as soon as I became pregnant, I expected to have help in the house, and I have a big house now, up 4 floors, so I had to have help. But I knew it was hard on you because you didn't understand about that, and it cost money, but this is what we did. And you consented because you had the office in the house. Therefore, it was a liability, the house, and it had to be cleaned and cared for and all that sort of thing. And I did a good job with that. Your office was always clean and ready to go and all that sort of thing. But we didn't always agree on money. Yeah. He didn't like the idea that I spent money on clothes and not realizing I had a family, 3 children.
When did his perspective on money change?
What?
When did his perspective on money change?
Yes, it did change, but violently, amazingly. When did it change? The market kept going up. Yeah, he was doing well with property and the stocks, and his parents. I forget when, but suddenly it loosened up, and he became very easy with money, and it helped me. Yeah, it was a good thing for me, because then I felt that if I didn't have enough money, my mother would help me. My mother paid for some of my furniture. He didn't have to. He didn't have to pay for anything in the house. Imagine. For a man not to be responsible and buy a dining room set, another living room set, thousands of dollars, $10,000 easily, more than that. And then I got presents and all the sterling silver, the things I bought, a fortune. So he wasn't used to that. And he didn't complain much about that, but mostly it was me not being available to him. Not if we had to go away or had a date. We never used to go out to eat with other couples years and years ago. Then I started, yeah. I asked my next door neighbors, you know, what's her name, their daughter, we wanted your father to get together with her, and the neighbor's daughter across the street. We thought they'd get together, we'd have an intermarriage there. Well, anyway, so those are the things that affected our marriage. But it didn't affect the marriage, it just affected the feelings, yeah. And then he became loosened up and relaxed, and he enjoyed life more. He realized he's got my money now. What is he waiting for? And he saw that he was living. He wasn't dead, and he was going to live.
I mean, I'm really grateful for the change because he paid for my college.
Well,
You know?
That,
And that's a big deal. You know, I didn't have to work a second job to pay for it, and I'm really grateful for it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I don't know if that would have happened 20 years before,
Oh, yeah, but
from what I hear.
well, if he didn't have it,
Yeah,
if he didn't have it,
yeah.
he would have it. But once he had it and he was settled down, and all the children were getting paid their money for college, and he, I know, when he was able to pay for the kids, his kids, not his grandkids, for his own kids.
So when my dad was sort of done with medical school,
Yeah,
I assume is when he sort of began to shift.
yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
Yeah, so when he was able to pay for the colleges, Amy, Sue, Jay, he felt free.
Did you travel much?
Then we started traveling.
Did you travel with the kids?
We had the boats.
Did you ever travel with the kids?
We no, we didn't take them to Europe. We went to the 4-week vacation. We went to Tokyo. We went to Europe. We went to had a 4-week trip.
I can't believe he went to Tokyo.
Yeah, yeah. No, but then maybe it wasn't Tokyo. Where were we? Osaka.
But you went to Japan.
Yes, we did.
Either way, I'm still surprised.
Oh yeah. Well, they weren't an enemy anymore.
I guess they were an occupied country.
Well,
When did you travel?
well, a little bit before the summer,
Uh-huh.
or after the summer, but not during the summer. Yeah.
You visited my dad in Europe. Did you? Did you go to Brussels?
Yes, we did. Oh, sure. We saw him there. Never forgot the way he was on a bridge, looking over and waiting for people to come out of the plane. And he and his friend, Adam, was it? Fred, looking down with beards, both of them. Hardly recognized my own son. Yeah. And we try to help him. We try to help Jay, so, yeah. He was so good. It was good, so good to, easy to love. Yeah. Well, like you.
So, to get back to the changes,
Yeah.
what have you noticed about women's rights?
Oh, nothing unusual for me, because there was always a fight with the women not getting enough money.
As long as you can remember.
Yeah, they were always underpaid.
Were there any times when you felt like there was progress?
When they started, no, even now there isn't so much progress. The women aren't getting all they should get as much as men.
So you think it's still a struggle?
Yes,
And it always has been.
always has been, and it always will be.
Who's your favorite president?
Obama,
Why?
none of them. I do. And when I see his picture, I just love
Who's your least favorite president?
the way he spoke, the way he handled everything. Obama, and his wife.
Who's your least favorite president?
Oh, come on, stupid Trump.
Why?
I didn't know too much about these stupid ones over the years. I was too busy. Had a very busy life. 3 kids, big house, taken care of by my husband's wishes. I was at Hadassah. I was a volunteer worker.
You were very much an artist. You took classes?
No, I did. Oh, I never told you. When we moved in, I'll never be able to close the door. And I said, you know, Joe, I never told you, but I'd like to sign up at Brooklyn College. I'd like to take some courses. So I would have taken art, I suppose, or what else? I don't know. I don't know what else, because I didn't want to be a professor. I didn't even know I was good in art. So nothing was driving me, but I knew I needed to continue to work on my mind. So I said that. He said, you know what? If you read the papers every day, he mentioned the New York Times, he said, you're going to come out better than anyone could be. He was very proud of me. And you don't have to go to college and go through all that. And he was happy that I didn't have to run around and go to classes at night and things like that. So I listened to him because I felt he was right. He was right. I know the people who read most were the most brilliant and the most successful. And I saw all these things. And the important people were the ones who were best read.
Who was your favorite art teacher?
Miss Jewel.
What did she teach you?
When she was getting set up with, she told me to get watercolors. I got watercolors or drawing material, which is a soft pencil, hard pencil, an eraser, and paper, and just look, use your eyes. But she opened up a window shade and looked out, and there was the tree branch. She says, draw the tree branch. Do what you will. And I did. And this is how I practiced. I copied drawing flowers, fruit, food, anything.
When did you start painting at home?
Oh, I took lessons at home.
Whoa.
She'd come to the house.
That's fantastic.
I made life very easy for myself because I didn't want to complicate my life. I wanted it as simple as possible. And instead of going to school, I had my teacher there. I painted at night till 2 o'clock in the morning. And my next door neighbor, the young man next door, Richard, what's the second name? Yeah, painted with her. Or I would have painted myself. I was that interested. And I knew I wanted to do that. So, and when I heard about Art Students League, I was so eager to join that. because that was really good. So I still read about it, the students there and who were famous, and I knew them all, and why they became so good. And I really wanted to go there, but it was in the village, right near where Amy lives, and dragging myself to New York at night. It's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy to leave my family, and I didn't want to leave Dad alone too much. It wasn't fair if he wanted to go out or so. So I tried to be available to him. Yeah.
I think this is my last question. If you could, you have how many grandchildren? How many grandchildren and how many great-grandchildren?
I don't think like that.
How many do you have?
How many do I have?
Yeah.
I have 3 children, 3 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren.
What would you tell your grandchildren about how to live their life?
I wouldn't tell them too much. They've got to do it themselves. They've got to learn themselves from mistakes. You learn from mistakes. And it's like playing, having a sport. You try and try and try again until you get it right. Yeah. Yeah. And I see it in my children. I was lucky. All our children are brilliant. They're just brilliant. Joanna and Jenny, well, they come from Susan, and your mother is smart, and you 3, you and your mother and father, and Joanna's whole family, all of you, Jenny. She married Dave, who's a wonderful husband. He's very devoted to her, follows her around to carry the kids or to help them or help her handle them or clean up after them. Yeah, he's more to do with the children than cleaning up. And Tony is a fabulous husband, and he gave Dave Moskowitz compliment. He said, "You're a model husband." So Dave said to Tony, "I think you are." Really? And because when I compliment them, I say, "You too are the best husbands." And they're delighted, and they know it's true, because they see each other. They mimic each other. And they get along very well, and they go there often. She was talking, Joanna was talking, was it Joanna? Yeah, about how wonderful they are with each other. Who was she talking to? You in the car.
Oh, yeah.
I heard her talking about how lovely and warm they are with each other. They see each other very often and play with each other, and the little ones look up to the older ones and copy them.
What are the 4 of them like? Is there any, like?
They're like their parents.
Really?
Yes. I know what the future looks like. I can picture them grown up and married like all of you. I know just how they're going to be the image of Joanna, and the image of their father. Because Tony's father and mother are very, very fond. She's a teacher. She's smart, very smart, and brought up 4 children, and they're wonderful. They are so sweet. They meet somebody, they shake hands, they kiss them. When I came into the family, and afterwards they kissed me good night and things like that, right away. And when they say hello, they kiss me. You know, that's unusual nowadays. Things have changed. It used to be like that. Now it's changed, but not for them. And he's very quiet, and but smart. Listen, he's running businesses, the drugstore, he has a what? Yeah, his business.
Mm-hmm.
He runs a pharmacy, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Did you know?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Very fine people and smart. And the children, I know the pictures of that. Ori is brilliant. Really, really brilliant. And she shows it more than Juliet, because Juliet is reserved already. She knows when to talk, when not to talk, and what to say, and what's polite, and what's not, because she's older already. And she's always been that way. She's like, well, come over.
What are the other 2 like?
So, the other 2?
Yeah.
You mean Lily? I don't know them too well. But they're going to be like their mother. Because she's a big influence on them. And they see her often, and they think she's fabulous. As I said, she's the real doctor. They admire her and her work, and they're going to emulate them, and they'll be just like them. So I have no fear about my family. I don't have any, what's it, spoiled brats around. No. And it's all from Susan and John. And John is so grateful for his father-in-law. Still talks about him. And to me, he tells me how grateful he is for everything Dad did with him. And he's not used to the closeness that he felt when he got married. Yeah. He entered a new world. His world was very different. Yeah. Half of them were too crazy, and his sister's strange, very difficult. Yeah.
Last thing.
What?
Last thing, and we'll stop. Can you say your name, your full name, with your middle name?
I have no middle name.
Like Jay? Jay doesn't have a middle name either.
No.
Okay, so just say your name and tell me how old you are.
Bernice Gross.
So just hold pause down.
How old am I?
Hold on. Okay, try it.
Bernice Gross.
See, my name is.
Morgan?
My name is Bernice Gross, and I am.
Bernice Gross. I am 98 and 9/10. See, I don't know my math, so I really don't know the figure. how old I am.
All right, hold on. That's good. Let's call it.
What do
We did it. We succeeded.
what were you thinking?
It's just noise.
You have any what are you taking?
I'm just filming you. You can walk out.
What? Ah! God. Okay. You're coming with me?
I'm gonna follow you.
You follow me? You're gonna show your dad how I walk? I'll be truly a great you. I'm having a therapist here Tuesday. Unfortunately, I can be on Monday. Here I go, sitting again. Life now is to look back at albums. I'm working on them. Your dad made this one, and I added pictures. I have so many more to put in. Here he is sitting. Here, it was about 95, 96.
Why?
So when you're older, you could look back at them, and it brings back all the memories and everything, like I was just there. Unbelievable. I love looking at them. Your dad, when he was a little boy, and he's so pretty. He's prettier than I was, as the same age. Yeah, of course I wasn't born then. He's 10 years older. Unbelievable. It's all unbelievable. You must have seen this. He invited me for a dinner dance. Yeah. So he watched me grow up, and he started getting quite over-friendly. We ended just at the right time. When I started college, no more lessons. And here, he picked me up in New York at Lincoln, around Lincoln Center. In my girlhood attire. So my folks went for a weekend to to the hotel, be post family hotel. Yeah, isn't this picture unbelievable? His scrubbing the deck. Is that wonderful to have? And while we were riding with we don't use that word, riding, traveling in our boat, somebody on a bridge took this picture and sent it to us. That's why we have this picture. And he had this over his desk. All in front here, in this house. He had this picture. I framed it, and he put it over his desk. This picture I love. You'll remember this, your grandpa. Well, look at this. Babe, look at this. So happy, couldn't be happier. This was when he was away, just left. I was pregnant, and he's talking about the bump, and Bernice, and Pincus, and who Pincus was in there somewhere. Yeah. So I missed a lot of fun. How long was he gone? 21 months? 21 months. He was gone. And he asked one of his soldiers to teach him to play the banjo. So he took lessons. Studious, practicing the marches. Yeah. And this is what he came back. Somebody called the newspaper, the Jewish newspaper. The guy wrote it up. And that's your girl. That's your niece, Amy, some girl. And when he took pictures, this is one of them. The rest is in my bedroom. This is my family. My grandmother, my grandfather. This is my mother, skinny little runt. And Joe was her older brother, the only boy in the family. And then she had five girls. Imagine. This is a wedding we went to or something. Your grandfather read a lot, and he was reading what's going on. No, I'm fine. I have water here. Okay. This picture. This picture is one of the best. Your father fished it out from my basement, looking through all the pictures, the hundreds, maybe thousands of pictures, and they picked out the ones he loved of